Dervish, a work of divine inspiration. The Dervish uses the unparalleled reflexes of its devout chassis wholly for offense. Instead of protecting, every motion of its warjack is meant to end life. The warjack falls upon the enemies of the faithful like the iron-forged butcher, its twin blades working in tandem to sow death across the battlefield. The Dervish has marked its success with the wake of a shorn limb or fallen soldier since the day it emerged from the hidden foundries, becoming notorious for its death-dealing capabilities during the vicious fighting between the Protectorate and Signarin forces on the streets of Seoul. The light and agile Dervish is the perfect addition to the crusading army on the move. It possesses greater reflexes than the other Protectorate warjacks developed to date, and is constructed to have supreme flexibility. Bringing its blades to bear at blinding speeds, the Dervish weaves through battle, sidestepping attacks in the same motion it uses to dispatch enemies in its path. The killing machine of the First Order was obviously designed solely for war, unable to justify the existence of the machine as part of any of Protectorate's defensive forces. The Synod decreed the Dervish would be constructed in secret and only in small numbers. Now, in the days of the Crusade, these warjacks have been called to the front lines to carve a bloody swath through the Protectorate's enemies. And this thing is pokey. And, you know, it's kind of hard to justify that this guy is a warjack, which is probably why it was made in secret. Like we read in the previous, they usually hit a lot of these more offensive jacks in the dark. So that's where it is. Let's go over his stats, just because I love reading these, because warjacks are all kind of done up the same, unlike war beasts. Its initial service date was 595 AR. Its height is 8 feet 7 inches. Its weight is 3.5 tons. Its fuel load is 365 pounds. Its general use is up to 7 hours, and its combat use is 80 minutes. And that would make sense, since this thing, when it goes into combat, it is just a flurry of strikes and stabs and people missing parts they probably should have had to begin with. Its armaments are swords. That's all it uses. And its Cortax manufacturers are the vassals of Menoth. So, yeah, this guy is a pretty pokey, and he's a light warjack, so he's pretty quick as well. But let's go over his Mark III to Mark IV changes and see if anything changed. Most likely not, because I have not been seeing a whole huge sloth of changes in warjacks from Mark III to Mark IV, just because if it's not broke, you can't fix it, right? And as always, let's start with his stat line. He has a speed of 5. He has a mat of 7, so he's a very melee combatant. He has a defense 13, armor 16. One of the fun things about him is he has a breakthrough, so he can run past models without having to lose his combat action, as is the new Mark IV setup. He is able to trample. He is able to headbutt. He is a construct as per usual. His abilities include sidestep, which is the same as the original. And he had parry on his original too, so that's why he has breakthrough now. So sidestep. When this model hits an enemy model with its initial melee attack or melee special attack, it can advance up to 2 inches after the attack is resolved. And for warjacks and warcasters, this is a very dangerous thing, because every time they hit an enemy, they're able to move 2 inches. So, and it's initial, so if they have 2 weapons, they can move twice, so they can get up to 4 inches, so they can get themselves all moved into a better position to stab a bunch of more people if they use focus to make additional attacks. And this guy's weapon output is his double swords. Both of his swords have a mat 7, range 1, POW 13. And he has combo strike, which is different from Mark III, because in Mark III you would take the power of both weapons and add it to its strength. They did away with that. It's confusing math. Combo strike now just gives you a base of +4 damage. So this guy can make 2 attacks at POW 13 or 1 attack at 17, which for a light jack, being able to dish out a 17 power attack and be able to just, make additional attacks at 13 power is still pretty significant, especially with some of the abilities the warcasters and some of the solos can toss on the warjacks. Makes these guys cheap but very, very effective at especially removing infantry models. But yeah, always be wary of these guys. And I'm usually pretty wary of most small menoth warjacks, because they usually always got a lot of punch in for their size. So